Hi, Megan. All right, let's go take a look. So, take a look at the front. I think the front it's looking pretty good. I think you've got the messaging that you need out right out of the typeface with the crosses. This is a decorative typeface, and one of the issues that I see with using this typeface is that descender, that leg for the uppercase R, and it's a swash like, okay, and it extends extensively. The problem is that is dictating your kerning right there. You kern the E any closer to the R, you're going to get some overlap. That rule right there dictates the kerning for the entire piece, right? Because that's as kerned as close as you can. If you were to properly kern these letters, this gap here would be extremely wide. Okay, the problem though is that by establishing that gap as the baseline for your kerning, these are huge. These spaces right here are huge. Okay, so that's problematic. So I don't, if you want to use a different typeface, I'm not real sure what you want to do here, or if you want to just keep that kerning open. But if you do, that's where your baseline, right? So these are still a little bit wide right here. I think, yeah, I think that we can definitely make some adjustments there. And so watch your kerning on the front. Humanitarian, that's a bold typeface. I don't recommend it. It's a modern Dido bold typeface. I don't recommend using bold. I would use you want remove a little emphasis on the subhead as it is sub. It's a subservient presentation to the title. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to the back of the poster. Okay, now I think that we've got some problems with the back of the poster, and I think a lot of the problems. I think a lot of this has been mentioned previously in previous um, critiques. So let's go ahead and take a look. A lot of this might be summary. So the timeline itself isn't designed. Okay, basically you just have a line with events marking. So this is more of a chronological listing of events as opposed to a designed timeline. I think right now the only thing we really have to design the timeline are two things. This right here from her veil or the rosary itself. You could theoretically create a timeline out of a rosary, which would draw a nice connection to the image itself, and it would be very, very effective. Additionally, the timeline, the composition is out of alignment. I'm sorry, out of balance. Okay, so you're pushed to the left. My recommendation is to move the timeline more towards the center of the composition, then to move the type more into the center of the composition and use a word wrap right there. That would be a great technique. As far as your typography goes, you've got some widows. Okay, that's a widow. That's a widow. Even though it's this short little types, technically those are all widows. You don't want a word sitting on a line alone ever in typography. Um, okay, as far as your typeset goes here, good job with your numbers. Just checking out some of your other typeset. So this is what I'm looking for, of course, for the final. This is all fair game, right? Rags, use of small caps, use of old style numerals, M dash, N dash, N dash, correct use of italics, optimal character count, superscript, hanging punctuation, orphans and widows, appropriate use of negative space, design timeline, design typographic composition and the laureate's name, and then all 18 rules of type that we went through during week 4 in the discussion. Right now, your body copy, that character count is too long. Remember, optimal character count is in between 50 and 80 characters. That includes spaces and punctuation. I think your longest line here, you're probably well over 100, probably pushing more like 120. So this definitely indicates a need for 2 columns of type. I recommend you do that as well. And then you'll want to watch your rags too, because I know even though that this is it's not word wrapped, but the rags, there's an angle right there. There's an angle right there. Okay. Rags should look like this. Staggering, short, long, in a way that's not noticeable, as opposed to anything like this. Okay. Rags are covered in a video tutorial located in the course announcement. So I recommend go ahead and review that. Watch your margins. We don't have ample margins set up on the left side. So right now it really appears that the type is encroaching on the page edge. There's no safe zone right there, so you want to definitely include a margin, which will happen by default as you readjust this this page anyway if I move it to the right to increase the balance of the composition. Okay, other than that, I think you're looking good. At this point, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. But I would like to see those changes reflected in your final submission. Again, really super important. Let me know if you have any questions. Great, thank you.